receiver room this offseason, from Friday's trade for Dontavian Wicks to Hollywood Brown, obviously former Chief Elijah Moore, close friend and college teammate of A.J. Brown. And this is new on NFL Live. Eagles GM Howie Roseman was asked if these moves have any effect on Brown potentially being traded.
What do you think the odds are that I'm answering this question any different than I answered anywhere else? Like, really? Like, do you think that's like 50%? Do you think that's 75%? No. A.J. Brown's an Eagle.
You got to ask the question. Come on. People are just out there doing their jobs. Hawk, can we play out the other side here? Because if I'm coming in and I'm the new OC, Sean Mannion, I mean, don't you want A.J. Brown there? Don't you want him in your offense? Keep him in the fold?
Absolutely. Like, what are we talking about? Now, I understand there's a lot of conversation around A.J. Brown, the interpersonal relationships and the ups and downs that we write about ad nauseum, it feels like, for the last few seasons. But the reality is, when you're a new offensive coordinator, you want every weapon at your disposal, especially a weapon that is instant offense. I'll give you an example. When I came to the Cleveland Browns in 2014, the Browns had opportunities to trade Josh Gordon. That was the same year Kyle Shanahan and his whole staff, who are all head coaches now, came in, and they lobbied and pounded on the table to say, hey, please do not ask us to fix this offense and then take away the biggest weapon we have. Now, again, A.J. Brown's situation is nothing like Josh Gordon's situation. But the reality is, if you are an offensive mind, no matter how good you are, you want the best players, especially a player who's top 5 at his position.
Hawk, I would agree with you if they did not have Devontae Smith. And I truly believe this in my heart of hearts. We know that A.J. Brown is one of the premier wide receivers in the league. But I think this relationship and how tumultuous it looked last year, especially between him and Sirianni at times having blowups on the sideline, between A.J. and Jalen not being on the same page. And it felt like, I don't know if you two feel like this between Schefter and Hawk, it felt like it had run its course. I said it soon as, close after the season ended, that the Philadelphia Eagles needed to trade A.J. Brown. Move on. You got a young receiver that you drafted high, a former Heisman Trophy winner in Devontae Smith, who has played in huge games and performed big in huge games as well. So I think that makes this situation a little bit different, because I don't believe, and as great as I think A.J. is, I think a lot of people look at Devontae Smith as a one as well. So Howie has that flexibility. He's been super active around drafts the last couple of years. And I'm interested to see if at the 11th hour, we sitting during the draft and Howie Roseman has made a move, either with A.J. Brown being a part of some type of trade package to go get somebody that we didn't know. Because I did not expect Jalen Carter to be on this roster 2 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe.
Big Swaggo, I am not expecting them to make a move with A.J. Brown during the draft. I think that will wait until about June 1st. And if you listen to Howie Roseman talk there,
the money.
If you listen to what he said there, it wasn't what he said, it was what he didn't say. There is plenty of opportunity at some point in time for Howie Roseman to say, A.J. Brown isn't going anywhere. We can stop all this talk. That has not happened. His common sense that he's repeated over and over is that A.J. Brown is an Eagle. That's all he keeps saying. And you know what? If and when they trade him after June 1st, then A.J. Brown won't be an Eagle anymore. Then he won't be an Eagle. But Howie is, it's not what he's saying, it's what he's not saying that tells you that they remain open to dealing A.J. Brown, and June 1st is the more likely target date for a potential deal.
See, that's why I shifted the guy, because I forgot about the money.
Right.
The money matters after June. My bad.
I just want to say, it's a $43 million dead cap hit, right, if he's traded before June 1st. Anyway, Hawk?
Absolutely. That matters. For everything Adam said is spot on.
Yeah. Okay.
Devontae Smith is not the same receiver without A.J. Brown. Not that he's not a number one and a great receiver, but it's a lot easier when you have that flare control on each side. So the Eagles need to have a plan for that, for an offense that has struggled to find first down.
I think we're losing. Did we lose? Yeah, we're losing
I
Hawk's
lost
audio,
him.
right? But we can lip read and we know what he means, right? Devontae wouldn't be as good without AJ. I'm just going to sum it up right there.
I'll expound, Hannah, because
Yeah.
Hawk he makes
He's
a
right.
really good point.
Yeah.
He makes a really good point. And any receiver opposite of AJ Brown will probably have an easier job in this league. Don't get it twisted. I just harken back to the fact that they drafted Devontae Smith and paid him, and he's performed in big time clutch moments for them. So I get that he may not be the same receiver. I don't believe Philly looks at him that way. I think the Philadelphia Eagles, matter of fact, I know talking to a lot of these guys during the year that they think of Devontae Smith as a number one wide receiver.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
I like,
Yes.
listen, the bottom line
Yes.
there in Philly is they'll do whatever they have to get back to a Super Bowl, right? Because that's the goal. It's always the Super Bowl. I know it is with other teams, but certainly with Philly, they could feel like they underachieved last year, making some changes to get back. All right. Let's get to some top stories, and let's start with the draft host city. And goodness, how many times have I asked you this question, Schefty? What's the latest with Aaron Rodgers?
Well, here's the difference, Hannah. We are 9 days out of the draft, 9 days away, and still don't have an answer from number 8. The Pittsburgh Steelers are waiting for a response. We thought we'd have one in mid-February. We thought we'd have one in mid-March at the start of free agency. Now we have the Steelers owner saying that he expects one by next week at the draft. Still no answer. And as long as there's no answer, it remains a question. And if he doesn't come back, do the Steelers even discuss taking Ty Simpson with the 21st overall selection in the first round? Or where ultimately does Ty Simpson go? Most everybody agrees he is expected to be the second quarterback selected in this upcoming draft, but there is obviously a lot of opinions on where he will go and whether he will sneak into the first round. As for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who traded for Travis Hunter last year, they expect there to be a noticeable spike in his snaps at the cornerback position. They still plan to play him at wide receiver the way they did last year, but he will play a lot more cornerback with the Jaguars having lost Greg Newsome to the New York Giants during free agency. There's a hole there in Jacksonville. They're counting on Travis Hunter to fill it. And speaking of defensive backs, Nasir Adderley, who's been out of football the last few years in retirement and who announced in February that he intended to return, landed today with the Indianapolis Colts. Remember, the Colts head coach Shane Steichen was the Chargers offensive coordinator when they drafted Adderley. Now Steichen is there to give him another chance to come back into the league with the Colts looking for added help. They've added some today in Nasir Adderley, who obviously was off to a strong start before he decided to retire.
Yeah, that's such an interesting story, and you can understand it. I mean, no team allowed more receptions last season than the Colts, so they're looking for some help. And we are just getting started here on NFL Live. After a trip to the Super Bowl, the Patriots are looking to make a big splash this offseason. Is there even more to this A.J. Brown story from their side? You don't want to miss what their front office had to say. And the Texans are weighing every possibility in this year's draft, of course, but Swagoo says